Well, I'm here at Pavan Horse Trail North. I haven't done this trail for a couple of years. A good trail to practice some descents on. If you are pretty new to mountain biking, this is one of the first trails I went down. I had no idea what to expect, which is part of the reason I'm putting this up. So this was the first ascent I believe I ever did. One of the first trails I ever did, if not the first, with mountain biking. And it is just a descent down. It is fairly wide, which is nice, because if you feel like you need to bail, or if cliffs and exposure make you paranoid and you're not used to them and you're scared of them, fine. This has plenty of room for you to maneuver. However, there are little steps every once in a while. This is a horse trail, and there's these little wooden kind of planks that cut across, and there's a little tiny step there. Nothing to be alarmed about. I wouldn't call it a drop, but a step. However, the good thing is this forces you, because of the steepness, and it's not crazy steep, but because of the steepness and how long that steepness carries out, there's rocks, there's those steps, there's bumps. It forces you to exercise trail vision and to just figure out your balance, your braking, because you don't have a lot of room to maneuver you can't go somewhere else. You have to stay on that path. It is a wide path, so if you do need to bail, you can. If you feel like, oh, I can't stop, my brakes aren't letting me, you can slide and you can bail, and you have got room to do that. So I find that this would be good for doing some of that early training on descents, but you can take a look for yourself here. Let's get it. Well, there it is. So, man, other things I'll add. One, you want to make sure your seat's probably a little bit lower, because you'll be standing and leaning back for some of that if you need that extra control. Another thing this trail is good for, line choice. You can circumvent a lot of those initial steps by taking that left trail. Then yes, you are a little closer to the edge, but still, I don't think enough to be scared of. And then, yeah, in addition to rocks and bumps and the steps, you also have horse poop. So, forces you to make decisions. Do I care about this horse poo? Or can I safely go around it? And those decisions need to happen really quickly, right? So, yeah. In those steep sections too, you can also practice feathering your brakes, and knowing when to brake and when to let off the brake. So again, I think it's a great trail for training, especially because if you just commit, I think that's the other thing it forces you to do. The very first time I went down it, I was like, oh my goodness, like I felt like I was out of control. I was just like, I need to commit. Like I can't stop. Like if I try to stop, I'm gonna wreck. And like with more experience, I know that like I could safely bail here now. But in some sections, it just feels like you have to commit. You just have to send it. And again, I think this is a trail that is fairly safe to do that in comparison to other trails that we have. So taking this as a descent for training purposes, I think is great. I think that if I were to rate it, I still think it's a green, but probably a really dark green. It's quick, short, and if you are more advanced, you could have some fun, right? You could just treat this like a sick downhill. You could take those steps as drops and get some air off them. Like you could rip right through that thing if you wanted to. So anyway, with that, see you another time for another raw ride. I need to add one thing. The other thing it's great for is in downhill endurance. So sometimes you think, oh, going downhill, that's just easy work. But your stance has to change, and that can really get sore on some of your muscles. So practicing downhill endurance, that's good for that too. Again, you have to commit. In order to do that trail safely, you need to have a certain attack stance. You need to be ready, you need to be thinking quickly, you need good trail vision. But yeah, downhill endurance, because you don't get chances there to really get out of that position and out of that pose. So it's also good practice for that.